The big story around here over the past few days has been this massive bee accident that happened on Friday with 250 million. We were told 250 million, 250 million bees fell out of a truck that crashed. They were being transported on their way to, where were they going, South Dakota or something?
Sure. The accident was in Whatcom County. I didn't see where there was the long-term destination.
They're never going to get there. That's what I know.
We need to. No, they're not.
Because the truck crashed, flipped over.
Yeah, and bees everywhere.
Bees everywhere. Crazy scene. But as it turns out, it wasn't 250 million bees. It was only 14 million. But that's still a lot of bees. Also, if you answer the call, if you're a local beekeeper or an apiarist or whatever you are, and somebody calls you and says, hey, we've got a huge spill, that's your shining moment. You got to show up to something like that. You got to go help the local authorities because cops are not made to hunt for bees.
No, and you don't know what you're doing. You can do more harm than good to the bees. The bee survival is
just
everything.
Yourself.
I don't know, who cares?
I'm worried about the officers more than the bees.
I guess I should. Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
All right, so we want to welcome, because we don't know anything about bees, so we thought we'd get an expert on. This is exciting. We have Quentin Geant, who joins us now. Quentin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Quentin, I understand on Instagram, if anybody wants to follow up with you and see your life, at The French Beekeeper. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. The French Beekeeper on Instagram.
And for anybody watching live right now, Quentin this is fantastic. You're actually sitting in front of what looks like a beehive. Are those bees swarming around you?
Not swarming, just doing their life. Yeah, I'm sitting right next to a beehive.
Yeah.
And he's French.
Doing what they do.
I love this.
You're from France?
Guilty, yeah.
Oh no, it's okay.
There's no better accent.
We're not that show.
If you're going to be a beekeeper, there's no better accent.
I won't insult you, Quentin. I will not try my horrific French impression.
No, it's phenomenal.
I do a better bee impression than I do a French accent. So
no, that's great. We're excited to have you, Quentin. So tell us a little bit. How did you get into beekeeping, and then we'll ask you some questions about how you would round up these 14 million bees. How did you get it? Because you're a young guy. How did you get into this?
Yes, I'm about 30 years old. My dad is a beekeeper, so I started when I was about 10 years old. I was his first employee in Paris. So we kept bees in Paris and around Paris. We're the family that the bees on Notre Dame, actually, when it burned down, and the bees survived, which was awesome. So I've done beekeeping in France and many other areas in the world, and now I live in Seattle for the past year and a half about.
Pause for a second. Go back to the Notre Dame bee story. What is that? What happened there?
That was a crazy story. So Notre Dame, a few years ago, as I'm sure you know, burned down. The bees were not exactly on the roof of Notre Dame. They were on the building right next to it, attached to it. And old building in France were built out of stone, so it's probably 4 to 6 feet thick. So the roof burned down and collapsed onto himself. But because the bees were on the other side of the wall, nothing happened to them. They survived. It was amazing. And wax melted down at 120 degrees. So if it was got nearly hot, they would have just died. And completely melt down the hive, and nothing happened. It was awesome.
So you guys
not awesome for the church.
Well, no, yeah, but they've rebuilt now, and it's beautiful, and they've done a nice job.
Yes.
But so they called your family in to help deal with those bees?
So they were our bees. They were our bees that we had at the church for the past few years. We managed them, collect honey from those bees, gave it back to the church, and they were raising money with that honey. So our bees were there. We just could not access them for probably about 3 weeks after the fire because there's just so much security, as you can imagine. I mean, it's dead in the center of Paris. So it's kind of crazy. But they survived. Everyone was fine.
Amazing. Okay, so now he's in Seattle.
So it gives me hope that these bees are hardier than I think they are.
They're not walking down the road.
The bees that were spilled at Whatcom County. What is the procedure? What's the protocol for recapturing these? What do you do?
Can you even recapture them?
You don't really capture them. You provide them a place. Hopefully, they're going to come back. Bees are extremely resilient. It is a big mess, as you can see in the pictures in the video. The semi truck, the flatbed, fell on its side, and then those beehives, those stacks of boxes, fell on their side. So I'm not on site. I've not been on site, but I've seen a few of those happen. What is the best protocol? You want to suit up. Those bees are going to be a little grumpy, not like those guys. I imagine, 25, 14 million bees flying around, being very confused. So the beekeeper went there, dressed up as beekeepers, full suit most likely, with their smoker. And their goal is to write up the beehive. So all the ones that toppled over on their side, to write them up. After that, you're just waiting for that day on Friday that most of those bees that are flying around, millions of bees flying around, very confused, to go back inside the box. Bees need sunlight to orient themselves and fly around. So they waited for Friday night, the sun goes down and they truck them out. But there is probably millions left on the trees, on the side of the houses and stuff like that. And so every day since Friday, they probably brought new beehive, empty ones, to hopefully hotel, to host those confused bees all around, to come into this beehive and truck them outside of the area. So I'm assuming by now. Go for it.
No, I was just going to say, will they go to? Do they have to go and capture the queen bees for them to go into the hive, or do they recognize a hive and they just go, "Oh, okay, we'll go in there. That looks nice."
So normally, one hive, one family, they have their mom, the queen, and the pheromone, and they follow that. Right now, they spill all around. Imagine a crowd of thousands of people, and you and your loved one in the middle, and you kind of got lost. And so at this point, they're looking for shelter. They're looking to go into a hive and feel shelter and safe. It's going to take a few days for them to settle down, to calm down, and then the beekeeper are going to go back inside the hive and try to look for the queen and make sure that everything is fine. It's not really a time, as far as I know, at least in my opinion, that I would look for queens and try to do everything perfect. It's like, let's put it back together as best as we can. Let's get out of the area. Let's lower the risk for the people and the bees.
Do bees, I know that these bees were in transport because they're used as a pollinating tool. And they go from farm to farm to farm, and they're essential to our agricultural way of life. So, go ahead.
They're super essential. They were most likely up there for pollination, either pear, apples, different kind. So the beekeeper brings them, spend a few days to a few weeks in an area, do pollination, provide pollination for farmers, which, as you say, is essential to our economy and as our survival as human. And then they were probably getting trucked out because we are at the end of the pollination season. Getting trucked out, if you say South Dakota, over there they do either clover, alfalfa, canola, and that's an area to actually make honey. So there's not pollination per se to get paid over there. Beekeeper bring their bees to make honey out there because it's this vast plain where they can make a bunch of honey.
Do you have any idea of the financial impact of something like this for whoever owned these bees? And I still don't know who owned the bees, but 14 million bees.
It's terrible. So you heard 14 million. A truck like this has 200 to, I would say, 600 beehives. So give or take 400, 500 beehive were in that truck. You can make the calculation. It's about 50,000 bees in each one of them. So let's say 400 beehive. I manage about 200 beehive in Seattle. This will be the end of me. This would be like, that's it. I not do my job anymore. I lost most of my bees. So it is very difficult for that beekeeper. Time will tell. Hopefully, maybe 80% will be fine, 70% will be fine. I very much doubt that 100% will be fine, but only time will tell. But it would be a huge impact for that beekeeper.
I imagine they'd have to have some sort, if they're transporting them, and that's a regular process, just if they're moving them around, I imagine they have some sort of an insurance that might cover the loss of bees.
I would hope so, yeah, because this isn't the first time ever the accidents like this, accidents happen.
You know what's crazy to think about? How just smart it is that somebody came up with the idea of, like, let's use these bees as temporary workers to go around and pollinate. Just like whenever I see goats on the side of the road clearing areas of brush and stuff like that. But they do this also with bees, which is very cool. So what are they a danger to anybody in the area? Or are these bees pretty calm and relaxed?
Any other day, I would say absolutely not. In this day, overall bees have tendencies they don't want to sting you. They have no benefit out of stinging you unless they have to defend their house. And right now, they don't really have a house. They're very confused. So potentially, yes, the people could get stung and things like that. But in general, it's just avoid the area. If you go buy a new car, just close all windows and things like that. And you can see bees are around me and it should be fine. If bees land on you, it's fine. They'll fly out again. There's no problem. And if someone gets stung, the first 30 minutes are critical into someone could have an allergic reaction to a sting. That does happen. It's a very small proportion of the world population that is truly allergic. It hurts like hell. I'm not going to tell you anything different. But most people are not actually allergic to the point they might die out of it. But the first 30 minutes are super important. The person should sit down, go in the shade, drink some water, and see how your body evolves. If you start swelling up in a lot of area, you start feeling lightheaded, difficulty breathing, it's time to call emergency services and they can come and help you. Other than that, it's going to hurt like hell, but after a few minutes, you'll feel a little bit better. You're going to be all swelled up. I used to be a kid and then, get stung and I have a balloon head. Last a couple of days. It's a funny story, but that's about it.
Quentin, do you get stung on a regular basis doing what you do?
Yes.
Do you ever get
Yes, I get stung
every day?
every day. But bees, I got to say, most of the time when I get stung is my mistake. Either I pinch a bee grabbing a frame, they got in between my legs or something like that. And that's most of the time. It's rare that bees come and just go on your face and sting you.
Yeah.
That's very rare. But it does. People ask me this, how long does it take? So for me, when they sting me, it hurts really bad, and a few seconds later, it's gone. I have no trace, nothing happened. For you guys, you swell up and stuff out. We say, I learned that from old beekeepers, they say, if you want to be immune to the venom, not react anymore, it takes 2 to 3 seasons, and it takes 2 to 3,000 stings.
Wow.
So if you guys want that, we can talk about it. But yeah, it takes some time, but it's part of the game.
Do people, and this is the last question, it's kind of a weird question for you, but I read a story, or I saw a video, I don't know what it was. I probably saw it. I credit things to reading, but I listen to a lot of things. Do people sting themselves with bees on purpose to get like an adrenaline rush? What is that thing?
It's not so much of adrenaline. I mean, I guess some people may be into that. What I heard is very much more medicinal. Chinese medicine, it's very old to use this, but currently in the US, people use it for 2 things that I know of. Arthritis, joints problem for older people when they have arthritis, thank you. And then Lyme disease, actually. It seems to be that bee venom is one of the only things that relieve from Lyme disease pain. And it's actually, I think there's studies showing more and more that maybe one day it could help, maybe not cure it, but relieve from it. People sting like their back area. That's what I've heard of people buying bees from me to do this. But yeah,
sting themselves in the butt?
Yeah, the lower back.
Oh, lower back. Okay.
Not like a shot, like a vaccine. But basically, it's a venom. You get an acid injection, that's the venom, and your body reacts. So in a place where normally your body would not maybe think about going, I'm not a doctor, but would not do any action, you're bringing something, your body suddenly bring a lot of white cells, bring a lot of activity in there, and that helps having movement in your body and maybe regeneration.
That makes total sense to me. Do you have any?
But please be safe if you try to get stung by bees.
Ask an expert.
Well, you need a professional, but we've got one here. We've got Quentin.
Yeah,
you live in Seattle?
Let's go with a doctor as well.
Are you?
Yes, I do.
Can we have Laura? Can we set this up? We can get Quentin in. He can sting Spike.
Oh my God!
I'll volunteer Spike.
Oh, you're volunteering Spike. Lovely.
And it'll feel good for the joints. I'll
Great.
do it.
My hip's been killing me. Bring me some bees. Do you sell honey?
Okay.
Do you sell honey, Quentin?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes,
now we're talking. And you're at The French Beekeeper is how people find you?
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yes.
Beautifully.
Fantastic. All right,
Yeah.
Quentin Geant, we're going to follow up because I think it'd be fun if we all got stung.
Yeah,
in
you
the
think it'd be fun
studio.
if Spike gets stung. He's a great guy, my friend here.
I will do it with you. We can get stung together.
Perfectly.
And we'll feel great. It'll make us feel really good. Quentin, you've been a
We'll do this
blast.
in your first hill.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
man. We're going to reach out. That's Quentin Geant. Good dude. Everything sounds better when they have a French accent.
I know, right?
Talking about getting his head swell up like a balloon as a kid. But you say it in a French accent and you go, it doesn't sound so bad. It actually sounds like kind of sophisticated and fancy.
He makes me want to get stung.
Would
He
you do
really
that?
did.
Would
Of
you
course I
actually
will.
get
Yeah,
stung?
if it would for joint pain, I'm telling you, I had a horrible weekend with joint pain.
I heard that what happens, just like what he described, I don't know how the algorithms chase me down, but it was like I saw a video of people getting stung and then they initially have to get over the feeling of, like, ouch.
Yeah,
once you get past that,
yeah.
then you get this endorphin rush where you're just like, I just survived. It's like
the rush of white blood cells. Is that what it is? Something.
So I think it would be fun to try. And it's
Okay.
like, but do the bees die? A bee would die if they die.
We should. Well, next time we have Quentin on, when he comes down, when he
Let's
brings
get
us
him in with some bees.
honey and bees.
But if it's just one
honey and
little-
venom.
If it's just one little bee, maybe they can find an old bee who's already sick. And they can sting us, and it'll be like kind of a nice transfer of something.
Laura's asking Quentin if bees die when they sting, right? You're
Yeah.
reaching out right now.
Yeah.
And you probably ask if he's single too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. If you guys aren't watching the YouTube live stream, I highly recommend going back for that interview.
It's a highlight.
I knew, Laura. I knew what you were thinking. I knew what she was thinking.